Good morning, Compton Middle School. Welcome to the AMS TV news for the week of April 17th. I'm Andre.
And I'm Nicholas. I hope you're as excited as we are to welcome quarter 4 in the 2022-2023 school year. Let's check out this week's positive message.
Hi, I'm Ivy, and today's positive message is by Wendell Berry. The earth is what we all have in common.
Thanks. Before the break, our 8th graders viewed Theater 3's Voices of the Holocaust presentation. Let's take a look.
How painful is it for you to play Rachel?
It's definitely emotionally demanding, and it never gets easier, but I am more comfortable with playing the role now, but it definitely wasn't easy. They were all real things that happened. That's the saddest part.
Danielle?
This was probably one of the most emotionally demanding roles I've ever had to do, especially just the topics.
What is it like having to play a Nazi, having or the armed man, having to salute?
It's very, very difficult. Mentally, it's hard to look at. You can imagine this happening to tens or hundreds of thousands of people, but then it becomes more personal when you're doing the show and these are my friends. I'm doing the show and I'm watching these things happen to my friends. And when you make it that much closer to you, and you imagine it as such, it is so much more difficult than thinking this happened over there. No, it happened in front of you here.
The camps were liberated by the Americans, the Soviets, and the British, and they all came in from different directions. For, as I mentioned, that last picture that was taken by the British when they liberated Bergen-Belsen. The camp we're in at the end is Mauthausen, and that was liberated by the Americans. It all depended on where the camps were located throughout Europe and the occupied territories. When the play was written, I happen to come from a community upstate where I grew up knowing many, many survivors, and when I came to Long Island, I connected with many, including Werner Reich, who spoke in this school for many years, and also one of the finest speakers I've ever seen. Over the year, the play has been presented in front of survivors many, many times, who saw it over and over and say, that's my story, that's exactly what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much.
Thank you to Mrs. Donahue for arranging Theater 3's visit to AMS. There are not many Holocaust survivors left. Presentations like this one helped us remember.
On April 12th, Miss Missilo, whose daughter is a student at AMS, came to talk to the 8th graders about her grandmother's experience during World War II. Let's take a look.
about some stories from her family's history. As you know, and I did mention yesterday, that they lost many family members. I believe you said in the presentation 70.
70
family members in the Holocaust to concentration camps. And I don't want to hold up because I know she's got a lot to talk about. So if we could give a round of applause to welcome Mrs. Masillo.
So why am I here? It's very important to learn from victims and survivors of the Holocaust through primary sources, such as speeches, biographies, whenever we can. And that's why you're reading Night. And Night is one of the most important books that you're going to read, especially about the Holocaust. Elie Wiesel was an amazing, amazing human being who spent his life trying to educate people about what happened. I was fortunate enough to meet him and hear him speak. And I hope you're all really reading by writing through speeches, publishing books, newsprint, etc. And you can do this too. You have to be neutral, but if we print something and we have proof that this person is working in Scandinavia as a Nazi and doing things that are against staying neutral, we can arrest them, we can deport them, we can question them, right? So they would print this information with the hopes that Scandinavia would take action. So it was really a year later, they got caught. One of the resistance workers was arrested and she was held in an interrogation, and she held out for almost 3 days trying not to reveal the location of where that underground newspaper was. In that time, my grandfather was able to escape, first to Czechoslovakia, then to Vienna, then to Poland, and finally to Sweden. But my grandmother was not so lucky. She felt that they wouldn't really come after her, they would just go after him, and she would have 1 or 2 days and then escape. In that time, she hid most of the stuff. She buried it in her garden, so there wasn't a lot of evidence against her. But the very next morning, they came and arrested her, and she was taken to prison. So remember, this happened very, very, very early on in the Holocaust. If this had happened even a year later, she would have been sent to a concentration camp. And the last thing I want to say is to know your story, because I got the opportunity to come here and tell my story, right? It's kind of cool. Maybe not everyone has a spy in their family, right? Maybe not everyone has an underground newspaper, you know, or forged passports, I don't know. But maybe you do, right? Maybe you do. Do you know your story? Do you know your family's history? And if you don't know it, go home and ask the questions, because it's your job. It will be your job going forward to tell that story like I'm telling it now. I happen to be lucky. You know, my grandfather wrote his autobiography. There's a ton of detail in this autobiography. I'm super lucky, but not everybody has that autobiography. You have to write it down, right? And be the voice for them for when they're not here anymore. So please know your story. Like, it's really, really important, right?
That was very touching. Tomorrow is the 54th annual celebration of Earth Day. The first Earth Day was held on April 22nd, 1970.
On Earth Day, we honor the achievements of environmentalists whose work has raised awareness to what can still be done to protect Earth's natural resources for future generations.
Earth Day is celebrated in more than 193 countries around the world. Go to earthday.org to join more than 1 billion people who participate in Earth Day events.
That's all for now. Thanks for watching the AMS TV News.
Have a great week.